Hi, I'm Martyn Drake, and this is the Profit on Purpose interview with Deven Pillay, who's currently Chief Executive of Harrow Mencap, and someone whose career has taken through almost every single aspect of health, social care, housing, local authorities, from volunteer to manager to now Chief Executive. Hi Deven, thank you very much for joining me. It's lovely to see you.
You're welcome.
First off, could you just remind me how long you've been at Harrow?
I've been just over 12 years at Harrow Mencap now.
Give us a feel for how it's changed since you joined.
I think very much we were a very small organisation, not really known except for delivering some services for people with learning disabilities, but mainly adults as well. And now we're a multi-faceted organisation that campaigns, is seen as the only campaigning organisations locally, but also provide a myriad of services for people with learning disabilities and beyond.
And so you've grown quite a lot as well.
We have, yes.
Give us a feel for it.
Well, when I started, I think we were dependent on grants. I think 95% of our funding came from local grants, to now just under 10%. We've grown fivefold in terms of turnover. We're about 1.7 million turnover now.
Wow. What would you say are the kind of 2 or 3 things that have really driven that growth over the years?
I think the first thing for me was about clarity of vision and clarity of purpose as an organisation. Being clear about what it is that you're going to do, what it is that you're about as an organisation. I think the second thing is about having a board that's engaged and diverse. Not diverse in terms of ethnically, but diverse in terms of skills, experience as well. I think when I arrived, most of the trustees were those who are engaged in the field of learning disabilities or families and carers. They have a great role to play, but I think as an organisation you need other challenges. So people from the business world, for example, marketing, finance, etc. I think brings real added value. But also people with learning disabilities themselves. So we're proud that we have people with learning disabilities themselves that sits on our board.
So, I mean, obviously that growth has been driven by something that you're doing right in the marketplace as well. So why do you think commissioners are picking you to work with rather than competition?
Not quite picking, but I think they see us as an organisation that delivers quality, an organisation that's prepared to be part of the solution, not just raising issues on behalf of people, but being part of that solution. So we will fill the gaps. We are prepared to invest in certain areas. And also, for me, it's about being ahead of the game. One example was around personalisation. Because we're a campaigning organisation, we understand about some of those issues and how that can enrich the lives of people. So we were pushing the local authority to embrace and engage on that agenda. Very reluctant at first, but we went ahead. We can't just turn an organisation round without actually having the knowledge base, so we invested in that knowledge around personalisation. So when it came to them embracing personalisation, we were up and ready.
And you talked there about you were campaigning quite heavily on an area where you were also developing services for them. Some of the people that I've spoken to have a bit of a dilemma about campaigning in areas where they also deliver services, whether that's from a relationship management point of view, putting people's noses out of joint, customers, commissioners, or whether it's from an ethical point of view in terms of effectively trying to grow your own market and then take advantage of it. How do you see the link between those two things?
We believe it's complementary. Campaigning is our core business. If we did nothing else, we would continue to campaign. Where we do get into services is where people aren't prepared to do them, where there are gaps in services. So for example, we campaign for people to get jobs, for people in service to have real jobs. As an organisation, we know that that's not an area of expertise for us, and we don't really want to get into that. So I think we've demonstrated it's not about us, It's about what is right for people with learning disabilities. It's about what's right for our beneficiaries. But however, if there is a gap and we're able to, we will invest and try and fill the gap. So because the local authority weren't taking on board the issue of personalisation, we started to drive it. And it came by accident. It wasn't something that we were looking to get engaged in terms of wholesale services. But because it was taking so long for them to actually engage in that, we started to push the agenda. And the marketplace, to be honest with you, the marketplace hadn't developed to respond to that agenda as well. So we were well placed to pick up some of those services.
Now you talk in very kind of commercial terms in terms of the market, etc. When we've spoken before, you've talked about the fact that you're structured in business units, and you even described you have a business unit for campaigning. So just kind of explain what that is. What advantages does that bring? What does that look like?
I think first and foremost, the reason why I moved towards that direction, what I wanted to do that was because I wanted a shift in culture. I didn't want the culture where people think we just decide this is what's needed and it will happen. I felt that in order to make things happen, you have to bring in business principles. You have to have clarity of purpose, you have to have a strategy, you have to have a plan, and you have to think about investment. You have to think about risks. I see campaign as a product. It's about inputs, outputs, and it's ultimately about outcomes. And I believe business principles will help you to achieve those things. Things don't happen just because you think it and want it and you have a desire. You have to drive that agenda.
And charities often struggle to get two things, to get the skills and the capabilities in order to be able to operate in that way, whether it's sales skills, negotiation skills, project management skills, sometimes leadership skills. But they also struggle to shift the culture into that more kind of professional, kind of commercial approach. So on those two things, in terms of skills and in terms of culture, what would you say have been the breakthroughs in your organisation? How have you achieved that?
I mean, for me, it's a partnership with my board. They have to be on side. They have to have clarity of purpose. They have to also understand what it is that we're doing. So governance is a key area. I think the second thing for me is my senior leadership team. You have to have the right skills mix in there as well. I mean, I'll give you an example. I waited 4 years before I actually employed one of my senior managers. I had people who could come in and do the job, but I wanted more than that. There's a culture of challenging within the organisation. We embrace it. We ask people to be challenging. I mean, all my senior leadership team are people that will challenge me. I have board members that will challenge me and vice versa. So we have that kind of culture where people are coming with different perspectives and are very challenging, but also talented as well. So, and I think sometimes, because the pressure is on, we'll take on board the next best thing. I would say don't wait. There are people out there who are both passionate about what you want to achieve, about your cause, but also with the talents to actually help you to drive that agenda.
Recruit slowly and fire quickly.
Absolutely.
So just finally, not to put you too much on the spot, but there are, I'm sure, plenty of other chief executives of charities who deliver services. What advice, if any, would you offer?
I mean, we've done things like looking at, is this an area where we want to continue to do? What is the most important thing for us? And we've let go of certain things because A, we weren't the right people to do it. We didn't have the skills to do those sort of things. So an internal examination, I think, is key, and being honest with yourself, And I think once you've done that, you'll be more confident about what it is you want to achieve. Because if you're confident, others will feel that as well.
Thank you very much, Deven. It's been really interesting to hear from you.
Thank you, Martyn. Good to see you.